Now it's a f***ing war.
It's time for Carter and Noma to go.
They've been plotting against me. With our business.
Tariq, you'll have to take out Carter.
I'm tired of those motherfuckers thinking they can stand against me.
What you gonna do now, Tariq?
Only 2 episodes left. It's all or nothing. That's the message in the trailer for episode 9, and you have to assume, after a few episodes of building up the storyline, building up to where they are with the characters, it has to be finally go time. They have to be ramping up the action and they have to give us a conclusion to at least a couple of these storylines come the end of season 4. I don't think we're going to get the answers to every single plot point and character arc, but I do think we're going to get the answers to a few, especially with Noma and Detective Carter. They seem like they're in the firing line heading into episode 9 and 10, and I do think at least one, if not both, will be taken off the chessboard, maybe even in a bloody red wedding, or is there a twist? So, as usual, we are going to be running through an action-packed trailer, running through all the scenes, clues, and generally what we can expect heading into episode 9. But first, let's take a look at the title and synopsis. Now, the title of episode 9 is Married to the Game, and the synopsis reads: a union that should bring the Tejadas and Noma together couldn't appear to be further apart. Tariq and Monet are sent on a seemingly simple mission, however, they find it much more than meets the eye. Now, what do they actually mean by married to the game? In short, it's a message that basically means a long-term commitment to the drug world, the lifestyle that comes with a game that many of our characters find themselves in, a life of crime, death, violence, and jail, basically symbolizing the unbreakable hold that this lifestyle has over a lot of these characters. We can also look at the fact that we are also going to have a power wedding. Noma and Cane are about to get married, or so they think, because everybody else, including Noma, Tariq, and even the Russians, they're all gearing up for war, and in my opinion, Cane is going to have a big decision to make.
Now it's a fucking war. I'm fucking tired of those motherfuckers thinking they can stand against me.
Now, in the trailer we hear Tariq saying it's a war while he puts a silencer on his gun, something we did see towards the end of season 3, but where he didn't end up pulling the trigger. But will he do it this time? We've also got Davis getting locked and loaded, along with Monet pointing a gun towards someone, who could be a member of Noma's crew, or it could be someone from Carter's crew who are at 4th Circle, because in essence, even though Drew is in charge, technically Carter is their boss. We also hear Monet echoing something similar to what they said in 408, it's time for Noma and Carter to go. So, you can assume that they've realised Noma has turned on them. Their idea in 408 was to play Noma against Detective Carter, and let them take each other out, a classic play from Kanan's playbook back in Power. But, as we learn towards the end of the episode, Carter and Noma came to an agreement. They realised it was actually in their best interest to work together and do business directly by eliminating the guys in the middle, in this case, Monet and Tariq. So you can only assume at some point that in episode 9, Monet and Tariq will find out Noma has turned, which was to always be expected.
What hard evidence does this cop have on me? Does he have a witness, surveillance, what? Well, you didn't answer my question. What does he know about my organisations? Be specific.
We did hear Noma question a few times, what does Carter actually have on her? And both Monet and Tariq couldn't answer, because the truth was, they didn't have shit. Not at that moment in time anyway. Now, how will Monet and Tariq exactly find out Noma's flipped? Maybe it's Davis McLean who warns them, because he did admit that his allegiances was to them. We also hear Davis on his gangster shit, but just before we come to a bit more on Davis McLean, where does Kane's allegiance actually lie? Is it towards the woman that he's marrying, which is more of a business transaction rather than something which is based on love? Or will he finally come to his family's rescue? From where I am, I do think they do need Kane's help. I don't think they're going to be able to bring down both Noma and Detective Carter down on their own. They might be able to get Detective Carter, but with Noma, it is a little different. I do think Cane will come to their family's rescue eventually, even though there's a lot of animosity between him and his mother. Even though he absolutely hates Tariq's guts, I do think he will eventually pick them over Noma. I mean, one of the reasons why Monet had to be the one to kill Mecca in season 2 was because he would never see it coming from Monet. She's the only one that could get close enough to him, and she was the only one who he would drop his guard for. This is where I think Cane will come in clutch for the Tejadas and also Tariq. He's the only one who can get close enough to Noma. He's the only one who knows her business inside out, and the only one who could kind of get her to drop her guard. And that's when the Tejadas and Tariq can strike. We do also see Drew and Diana with guns in hands, pulling the trigger, which may or may not actually be against the Russians. The background does kind of seem similar, but let's see. It could be classic trailer manipulation. But regardless, they've also probably realised that the family needs them. So this is where I think Cane fits into episode 9 and 10. I genuinely do feel he could hold the key.
Tariq, you'll have to take out Carter.
Now, Davis MacLean tells Tariq that he's going to have to get rid of Detective Carter, and this is the Davis MacLean I like seeing in Power Book 2 Ghost. He's definitely played the hell out of the lawyer role, but I really enjoy when he's on his gangster shit where he gives zero fucks. It reminded me of the time when he told Tariq that he had to get rid of both Effie and Lauren, and sometimes Tariq does need to hear it from someone like Davis MacLean. So, we hear Tariq saying he's tired of these guys thinking that they can stand against him. We have Carter at a church with Tariq going after him, pulling the curtain and pointing the gun in the booth. Whether Carter is actually in the booth, and whether this is where we see Tariq catching Carter, I'm always a bit skeptical in tying these scenes together in the world of Power, because these trailers are really easy to manipulate. We have to remember, we're only seeing less than 30 seconds of a 1 hour long episode, so the voiceovers and some of the way they cut these scenes, it isn't always as it seems. Now we've also got a scene with Tariq pouring petrol over what looks like Monet's G-Wagon. Why he's burning Monet's car, considering they're actually supposed to be on the same team, who knows? Maybe they need to get rid of some evidence, maybe they had a body in the trunk and fingerprints that they need to get rid of, because even though we have seen Tariq and Monet against each other before, I don't see them turning on each other again in episode 9 or 10. They're firmly in this together. Monet can't do this without Tariq, and Tariq can't do this without Monet.
They've been plotting against me. Fucking with our business.
Now we've also got Monet saying that they've been plotting against her, messing with her business, which you can only assume she's talking to Cane as they get ready for their wedding. And as I mentioned before, I do feel like Cane will have a big decision to make when it comes to staying loyal to someone who doesn't fully respect him and is just using him for a passport, or staying loyal to his family. She may even be the one who makes him pick. Either he picks Monet or he picks Noma. But just like Monet said to Drew,
Look, you remember, it's still my blood that runs through your veins. You are a Tejada, no matter what.
at the end of the day, I do think both Cane and Drew will pick their family. We've also got a scene with Effie sleeping with someone who you can only assume is Cane. Despite him getting ready to marry Noma, one thing we do know for sure, Cane definitely cares about Effie more than he does for Noma. I also feel like he will be there for Effie, especially after her mother came back who didn't exactly have anything nice to say. It was really harsh coming from someone who hasn't really been there for Effie. Someone who picked her abusive boyfriend over her own daughter. Someone who only came back into Effie's life because she was short on cash. So, I do think Effie and Cane will get back together. But again, are they setting us up for a huge death when it comes to Effie? I would be intrigued to know whether any of you guys actually have Effie on your death predictions, so definitely let me know. I'm actually going to do an updated death predictions video this coming week, because I do think in episode 9 and 10, they will spring up a few surprises, and also because we have to see a major death. Episode 8 was another build-up episode, and they have to be building the story up for them to really hit us with a shocker. Now we've also got Vadim and the Russians in the thick of the action. Whether it's Drew and Diana shooting against them, let's wait and see. But the last time we saw them was in 406, when Carter and his task force raided their restaurant. We did see a few of them in 407, when Carter raided one of their safe houses, where he pinned Kamal Tate's murder on one of the Russians. So, it does seem like they're back for revenge. Whether they're actually on Monet and Tariq's team, or whether they're on their own shit, let's wait and see. Either way, they are here to spice up episode 9, and they could easily be taken off the chessboard as well. Now we've also got Drew holding the gun towards someone, although it's very difficult to see who and why. But you really wouldn't bet against Drew pulling the trigger either. He's definitely doing his shit this season, and getting shit done when it needs to get done. However, are him and Cane willing to put aside their beef and work together? Or will we see them going at it in the streets once again? Noma said that they were fucking with their business, and Cane also knows that Drew was the one who tipped Detective Carter off about the gun's shipment that was on its way to the Italians over on the Lower East Side. So, let's see whether the brothers actually can put aside their beef and work together, or whether there's another battle between the two, because if there is, this time around there can only be one person who walks away, and it's not going to be Drew. Now last but not least, we have Tariq holding Detective Carter captive. How he's managed to get the jump on Detective Carter, it could actually be him catching him at the church, or it could be something completely different. As I said before, we really can't be certain with power trailers or teasers, but one thing's for sure, he's got Detective Carter, and now what's his next move gonna be? Because he also needs to bring down Noma. He can't not bring down one and leave the other. We've also got Detective Carter questioning, now what? What's Tariq's plan? Is he finally ready to turn into the apex predator and do what needs to be done? Or is there a twist? Could Detective Carter say he has Tasha or something? We also have to remember, there is also the small matter of Detective Carter having Tariq on CCTV, pulling the trigger on Zion, and that is an ace up his sleeve. He can warn Tariq if he kills him. He's got the information ready to be released to the public or law enforcement, which would make Tariq's life pretty much hell. So, let's see whether this CCTV footage comes back into the picture. I do feel like they do need to make reference to it. Tariq does need to know that this CCTV footage does exist. Just when he feels like he's got Carter right where he wants him, he hits him with another curveball. So let's see what Carter has up his sleeve, if he does have anything. But that's a breakdown of the trailer for All Things Episode 9. It's an episode which will definitely be a lot more explosive than the last few. And with Tariq looking like he's holding Detective Carter captive at the end, let's see what his next move is, because as the synopsis teases, they find it much more than meets the eye. Has Carter got that CCTV footage as a backup plan? Drop all your thoughts and predictions down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.